extra gear, the first 3 steps,
huge strides in the performance,
that I might not be the player I am today.
All right, welcome to another episode of Behind the Gear, and today we're sitting with Nick Suzuki, and Nick's a Vegas Golden Knight prospect, which is kind of cool. New team, new sick gloves, the white gloves.
White gloves.
Yeah, old school Gretzky gloves.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know who Wayne Gretzky is, but no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so for sure. So Nick, you're obviously from London, Ontario, born and raised here. And you played all your minor hockey out of London, right?
Yeah. I played 2 years with the West London Hawks and then
nice.
7 years with the Junior Knights. So it's been good.
Yeah, cool. So you played all your obviously your minor hockey, like IP and novice and stuff in West. And then did you jump to AAA kind of right out of Adam, I guess?
Yeah, right out of novice.
Yeah.
Went straight to AAA and then I was in AAA for 7 years. So
Cool.
It was a good ride with the Junior Knights. Won a few championships, so that's pretty cool.
There you go. So you basically pretty boring. You played West London Junior Knights. That's it. Done. There you go. No, that's good. And then obviously you got a younger brother, Ryan, who's played 2 years younger than you. And, what was it like growing up with a younger brother kind of, first of all, being probably a pain in the ass most of the time, but for the most part, having another guy who played hockey, like, did you guys get along pretty well? Did you guys, like to go to the rink together, like to play, kind of ball hockey and street hockey and things like that together?
Yeah, I think growing up, we were always playing ball hockey out in the driveway. Some of the earliest pictures that we have is just us in our helmets and on the driveway playing together. So he was always fun to play with, and I like to throw him in net for
obviously
road hockey. So he got pretty good at it.
And,
but he's turned out to be a better player.
No, yeah, for sure. He's a hell of a player. But the younger brother's always got to take the brunt, right? He's got to be the first one in net.
Yeah,
and then,
he had to play net.
Totally, yeah, that's part of it. If you want to play with the older brother, for sure. No, do you guys have any like pretty good battles? Like any good like solid fist fights or solid goes, or not too bad?
I don't know about fist fights, but he had a couple stitches from getting his forehead playing mini sticks. He hit the wall. And
is that like a gentle shove by you, or just okay? Yeah.
So he ended up with a couple stitches, but I think that's the worst of it.
Oh, that's all right. That's not too bad. That's good. And then Junior Knights obviously was probably a lot of fun. Were there any throughout the years, you obviously had a lot of different teams, meaning some teams that you're going to lose players. You have some changes on these AAA teams. Do you have some players that you kind of played with almost all the way through those 7 years that are, you guys had a good age group, that 01 group, but are there some, some good buddies that you have out of that age group now that you kind of keep in touch with that maybe play in the O as well, that you're tight with? And
there's a lot of us that played kind of all 7 years. Isaac Ratcliffe was on the team. Brett Willits played a lot for the 7 years. Brock McDonald was our goalie for every year. And so there's a bunch of guys that were just on the team always, and we were good friends growing up.
Yeah, I know, it's cool. I said 01, I meant 99. I was thinking Rhino there. Because again, that 99 age group was a solid age group. And you got quite a few guys right now that are going on to play. Like Brett's got a good opportunity now out, looking, kind of searching for a scholarship and playing in a good league. You got Ryan Martin's playing in the O with you as well. And a couple other guys that are obviously, having some success, which is awesome. So nobody else has been drafted off that team, though. I don't think they did that to the
NHL.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Ratty, right?
Ratty was the only one.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I mean, you guys got a pretty good crew of, a couple of those guys that are back in the summer that are still training and still around, which is always fun to kind of catch up, because everyone scatters during the winter to play, and then everyone comes back to one spot to hang out in the summer, which is kind of cool. So it's great to see, groups of you guys kind of hanging out and being kind of friendly and catching up, obviously in the off season, which is wicked. So
yeah, it's good to see everybody coming back for summer. Just catching up, asking them about their year and how they. Well, I play against a lot of them during the season, so it's good to see them back in the gym or wherever I see them. So it's a lot of fun.
There's some pretty good like chirps through the year when you meet up with like Ryan Martin or Ratcliffe or those guys. Yeah,
for sure.
Just getting under each other's skin a little bit.
It's definitely competitive.
Yeah.
Personally and for the team. So.
Yeah, no, it's good. And then what about in the gym? You guys push each other pretty good when you guys are training together? You have like kind of bigger workout days and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of us have been working out together for a long time, and I think it's better when there's competition in the gym, and you just want to be lifting heavier than the other guys, and just being better in the gym is good, and just having that competition with guys that you've grown up with is good. And so it's a lot of fun being there too.
Oh, that's good. And then we got to know each other pretty well when you came to Blyth and to the London Knights Hockey Academy and stuff, and we were running basically that kind of all-encompassing off ice, on ice, the schooling, the whole thing. And we had an awesome group, a real fun group of guys at that time. Before that, though, what kind of a school did you go to before that? You went to a different type of school before that.
Yeah, I was at Waldorf.
Yeah.
That was another private school.
Yeah.
It was more of an artsy school, so it was really good for when I was younger.
For sure.
And then I was moving towards more athletics, so
yeah.
So
now that school though, like, would you say that school kind of, and I'm kind of intrigued, but it kind of makes you think outside the box, right? Like, you guys did some pretty cool stuff. I remember hearing about like just some art stuff outside, building gardens or doing some stuff with woodworking and things like that. But for young kids, a lot of the schools, you don't get that kind of stuff.
No.
So getting that is probably kind of takes you out of the sport element, but it really gives you a kind of a different way of thinking, a different way of looking at things, right?
Yeah, there's definitely not that many of athletic kids, but you get some of them that were pretty athletic. But we did a lot of gardening. I used to carve wood and make some stuff, and I used to knit and crochet over there. So
now, I mean,
there's a lot of different skills.
A lot of the boys would not want to hear this. They would be like, "What? What's going on?" But I, as a parent now, I think it's good to be a little bit more well-rounded. And sometimes we get so focused on holding a hockey stick all the time that, how many guys ever are going to carve wood? I bet you out of all the guys that train here in the summer, probably not one has ever carved anything out of wood, right?
Probably
So
not,
no, guaranteed no.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So it was really good.
No, it's good
for kind of the younger development, I think.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And then going through minor hockey, obviously, you played, and you were fortunate. You were probably always one of the top 6 guys on your team, and kind of was leaned on to produce and play well and things like that. Going through minor hockey, what were your parents like? Were your parents, your mom and dad, kind of hard on you? Were they kind of laid back? Were they, would they give you some advice, or would they get pissed when you didn't play well, or kind of how they navigate you through that minor hockey system?
So first off, like, my mom, she wasn't a big hockey fan before, but like, she's just our fan.
Yeah.
For me and my brother, she just cheers for us whether we do good or bad.
Yeah.
So she was always good support. But my dad was kind of took a huge learning curve that he was telling me. Like, he was kind of hard on us for a bit, and he just decided that he wasn't going to be really that hard. So for me growing up, he was always supportive. He never really had anything bad to say.
Yeah.
But if there's teaching moments, he wanted to let me know, but he kind of let our coaches do all the teaching, and he was just in the car rides, I wouldn't get ripped or anything. He would just say good game, and then we'd talk about some stuff. So he was always really good, and I know there's some parents that are kind of crazy sometimes, but both my parents were pretty relaxed.
Oh, that's good. And you said something there that kind of clicked with me with those teaching moments. And I think, it's important. It sounds like your dad let the coaches coach. And then if there's something like you banged your stick, or you showed bad body language, or maybe didn't pass the puck when you should have, those are teaching moments to me that a parent can step in and be like, you got to be unselfish. Or, you break your stick again, you're not going to get another stick from me. Or, things like that, right? Where a lot of times we miss those as parents, and, maybe we're not paying attention, or maybe we're so caught up in something else that we miss those opportunities to be a parent. And I always tell parents a lot of times, the last thing a player needs is another coach. You got enough coaches. You got a head coach, you got an assistant coach, you probably have a skills coach, you got all these other, you don't need a parent ripping you in the car for an hour about how shitty you played. You already know you played like shit. You already know the team lost, right? So I think it's important. And when I got a chance to meet your dad, he always came across as very laid back. He was like, I call him like a sneaky parent. Like, he knows enough about hockey, but he pretends he doesn't. He's like, I don't really know, But he knows, but he kind of lets guys do their thing. If you come to me to do skill stuff, or you're going to go with Mitch to do workouts, he kind of lets guys, that's their thing. He'll never come in and tell Mitch how to train you, or what you should eat, or come in and tell me, I think you should be working on a shot this way. And I think I respect that. You let guys do their thing and what they're good at, and what you're supposed to be doing, I think, is for your dad and your mom as parent. Right. And I think, your mom putting the pom-poms on and wearing your jersey is cool. And, right. I think it's, you kind of always feel good about those conversations after a game. You're never worried about coming out of the locker room like, oh man, what's going to happen in the car, or things like that, which I think allows you to just play and be you, and vent if you have to vent, and talk about stuff if you have to talk about stuff. But I think that's huge. And then going through minor hockey, obviously, you play all your minor hockey. And then when you get to that minor midget year, how different is that minor midget year from the rest of the minor hockey? So you think it's 6 years of AAA, which is probably fun, good, mini sticks, hotel rooms, slides, all that stuff. And then what was minor midget like compared to the rest of those years?
Yeah, minor midget was definitely a way bigger year. It's just always in the back of your mind that it's your OHL draft season and you want to do your best and get picked to the OHL. But for me, I just tried to have fun with it. We had a good team, so we were always winning in our league, and we did really well in tournaments. And for me, I just tried to stick to my game, and only thing you can control is the way you play, and you can't think about the scouts that are watching you and seeing how they're going to judge you. So you just got to put your best foot forward, and everything will work out good.
Yeah, I know for sure. Now, in the back of your mind when you're going to games, let's say you're going to a tournament, Titans tournament or Marley's tournament, and there's tons of people there. It's Toronto, it's the hub.
Yeah.
Good teams are there, good players are there, all the scouts are there. In the back of your mind, are you like a little bit just like, oh shit, like kind of nervous a bit and like, man, I got to play good today? Kind of, I guess, you're a competitive guy. I'm sure going in your minor midget year, you weren't like, golly, I hope I get drafted. You're probably like, I want to get drafted as high as I can, right? And I want to beat out those high-end guys in Toronto, those high-end guys in the Alliance. And so when you go to some of those games where they're a little bit extra butterfly sometimes, just kind of maybe pressure that you put on yourself, and like, I got to perform today. Like, I'm one of the top 3 guys in this team, and I got to make sure I'm, playing the way I need to play.
Yeah, definitely. For my goal was to go in the first round in the OHL, and I think there's always nerves when you're in your draft year, and you can always look up in the stand to see like a pea coat or a binder, and you're just wondering who they are. And but for those tournaments, you're walking around with the scouts. You're just trying to impress them. And for my minor midget year, I thought I did really well with kind of not focusing too much. Yeah. And I did kind of look up some stuff to see for my ranking. And
you have to, right?
Yeah. So
and even the guys say, I don't really care. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Everyone does. You have to. I mean, you're on the.
You want to know where you stand.
Totally. No, for sure. Now, were you a guy in warm up that would like spend a little bit of time looking like around in the stands, maybe looking for a good looking girl or looking for the pea coats, or were you guys spend more time just not even focusing on that?
I was pretty focused kid.
Yeah, good. Okay, now what about when you're sitting on the bench, like in between shifts, you're like this? Are you looking around a little bit?
You look up a little bit.
You got it. Right? You got to check it out. See where mom and dad are. See where the girlfriend is. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Oh, it's good. And I mean, it's hard. And this is the thing. Like a lot of these young players that go through this, and they're going to go through it after you in the next years. It is a big year, and a lot of parents, it's not a big deal. And I always tell them it's like nothing you've ever gone through before, because you guys are under you guys are under a microscope. They're watching you guys warm up. They're watching you play. They're watching how you go to the bench. They're watching how you sit. They're watching how you talk to your coach. There's so many things that they're looking at. Now you add that social media piece. They're looking up your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, all this stuff. And, you guys are under a microscope even at that OHL level. And I think it even gets worse at the NHL when you go through that process, which we'll talk about in a second. But and for a lot of these young, it's okay to be honest about it, man. It's a grind. Like you're in a meat grinder for a year, trying to play the best you can, trying to get points. You're trying to not be you're trying to be unselfish and pass the puck, but you still want to get points. If you're a scorer, you got to score. You go through a little bit of a drought, gets in your head. Like there's all these things that snowball with these young guys. And at the end of the day, you're 15 years old. Yeah. Right. You can't even drive a car yet, and you've got all this pressure on you and it's a lot, right? And I mean, you're very fortunate because you're a high-end kid, and obviously you got a good head on your shoulders, and you obviously handled it very well. Now going forward to that draft day, what was that like sitting in front of I'm assuming sitting in front of your laptop, right?
Yeah, I put my laptop onto the TV. So
nice, you had a big screen.
Had that, yeah,
sweet.
So it was a pretty nice setup for. It was just me and my parents and my brother. Yeah. So we were just sitting there by ourselves.
Keep hitting refresh.
Yeah, they had that OHL draft show, which was pretty good. So they've been doing that for a couple of years. Yeah. So it was pretty nerve wracking. Yeah. I wasn't too sure where I was gonna go, but before the OHL draft, I was in Owen Sound for a playoff game, and I kind of got a good feeling of Owen Sound, but you weren't really 100% positive that I was gonna go there. So
yeah, right.
So
kind of never know, right? Especially like top couple guys know for sure they're locked in. Now it's all done. But I mean, you were a high pick, but still, you're not quite sure. Yeah.
Like I've heard of players that have been told where they're going to get picked and not get picked there.
Yeah.
And
So that's it's the worst.
Guys think they're going higher. Guys think they're going lower.
Yeah.
And then,
so after the first, let's call it 3-4 picks, where you kind of know those guys you played against them, you know where they're going to kind of sit. After those first 3-4 picks, what's going through your mind, you know, as you're hitting the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, like as you're going down to where you got drafted? Because you got drafted in, was it the 9th?
I was 14.
14, sorry.
Yeah.
And Ratty was right around you as well, wasn't
Ratty
he?
was 15.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So as you're going down kind of the list, like are you kind of almost every pick that's coming through, you're like, oh, maybe, I talked to this team.
Yeah.
And then, right? It's kind of playing mind games on yourself a bit.
I kind of had a range of where I thought and the teams that seemed interested most. And, but as the draft's going on, you're kind of thinking of the players that you've played against and where you think you are with them. And, there's a lot of good players in that draft, and they're doing really well in the O.
Yeah.
And I thought Owen Sound was going to be really in on me, and turned out that they wanted me. So
that's great. And you don't have to mention any names, but were there guys that went in those kind of 13, 12, 11, 10 that you're like, man, I'm better than that guy. I know I'm better than that guy. I outplayed that guy, right?
Well, for me being competitive, I think
it's natural, right?
Better than a lot of the guys.
For sure.
But it was just it's the minor midget draft is a lot different. Guys are still growing.
Yeah.
You could get picked late. Like a guy like Alex Formanton went so late in the OHL draft, and now he was playing in the NHL last year for a bit. So that draft is really all over the place. Some guys that went earlier haven't had great careers. Some guys that went really late have really good ones. So
no, it's a good point though, and you're right. You are 15. Some guys sprout 3-4 inches after they're 15, and that changes their game. You look at Ratty. I don't even know if that guy's ever going to stop growing. Yeah. Just every time I see him, he's taller, right?
Yeah.
But things do change a ton. You're right. But I think, and I'm not asking you I'm not asking about that. So you're like, I'm better than those guys. But it's like one of those things as being a competitive guy. I'm sure part of you is like, I want to prove somebody wrong. I want to prove every team wrong that didn't draft me. You know, and kind of having that fire in your belly where like, I want to show everyone I'm better than that guy or they should have picked me in the first hole or whatever it is, right? Like, and I think that kind of, that's part of what drives some of you young guys that are playing at high levels is that competitiveness and that willingness and that want to prove that you're better than the guy beside you. Right?
Yeah, it's definitely a competitive thing. And some of the guys that went before me, I just really wanted to show that I could have been better than them. But you never know what teams are really wanting. And so I'm just fortunate enough that I went to Owen Sound and I got to play a ton my first year, and then I've played a ton for the rest of the other 2 years. So
it's been awesome, right?
I've been in a really good spot, and so I would be less happy.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I mean, Owen Sound's good, and you guys have had some real good years where you've had, some obviously made the playoffs and had some some good fights, some good series going on, which is really good, and you played a really big role there. And I think Owen Sound was probably a good spot for you as a 16-year-old to get some minutes and get some time and get an opportunity to play and kind of be even a guy at 16, I think, that got leaned on a little bit to produce and to play a little bit of offense, which obviously is helpful as a 16-year-old because going into the OHL, what was that like for you going to the OHL as a 16-year-old? Was it a nerve-wracking experience as far as just moving away from home, being in a locker room with a bunch of older guys, 18, 19, 20-year-olds? What was that whole experience like?
Yeah, from moving away, I ended up with great billets. They actually have London ties, so it was cool to have them around, and they've been nothing but good to me. And I had a couple of roommates my first year, so it's good to have players on the same team as you around the house and getting to hang out and building just that chemistry. And but older guys were great to me. They never made me feel uncomfortable, and they always made me feel like I was part of the team. So I had great veteran guys that kind of took me under their wing and showed me how the OHL works.
Oh, it's good. Any older guys that are just like complete beauties when you walked in, just like, oh man, like this guy is unbelievable.
Yeah, my first year was Bryson Gianfroni. He was my center for like the later half of the year, and then guys like Jacob Bush, it was his last year, and we just had he was a lot of fun. He was always, he would offer to come pick us up whenever we needed to go to the rink, and he was just a great guy. And Cianfroni was just really a mentor for me, and he was just a beauty on and off the ice. So
but you need those guys, right? That kind of like, because sometimes we take hockey a little bit too serious at times, or you're young and you're nervous, and you need those older guys that are just like, man, relax.
Yeah, they just have fun.
Yeah, enjoy it, messing around, and doing stupid stuff in the locker room, or whatever it is. And I think it's really important to have that chemistry on the team, obviously, and having some of those key guys.
Yeah.
And even for you, I think as a younger guy, and then looking at some of those older guys, and like I when I'm that age, I want to treat young guys like that, and kind of looking at those guys, maybe not doing all the stuff that they do, but looking at some of the things that they do and be like, I want to offer to help these young guys, because when you look at it when you're 16, it's really hard to go into the OHL or any kind of junior team and being the young guy.
Yeah.
And if you have tough vets that aren't really nice to the young guys, that makes
have fun with it.
Yeah, it's brutal, right? So being a good older guy to these young guys, I think is a massive, massive thing, And then obviously you've had an opportunity several times to represent, Team Canada at the 17s, the 18s, and getting opportunities like that. And then what are some of your cool memories about that, about the Hockey Canada program that you've gone through, as far as any of the terms that you played into, but some of the, just run through a couple of cool kind of experiences.
For U18, we got to go over to Europe, and that was the first time I've ever been over to Europe.
Cool.
So it was just a great experience. We got to visit some of the castles in Slovakia.
Nice.
Just up a mountain. It was a pretty far walk, but it was definitely worth the view, and to see all the rustic castles. And every experience with Hockey Canada has been amazing. And just from all the guys you get to meet along the way, you're still in touch with some of the guys that you've played with, and just getting to know them every year. And it's been a lot of fun, especially at U17. We won the tournament, so
yeah, it's pretty cool.
And
your year, how'd you guys do with the U18s?
Not very well. We finished fifth, and we broke the streak for the U18 winning.
You're the team.
Yeah,
no, I'm kidding.
So
those tournaments are hard though, man.
Yeah,
but they're short tournaments, and man, you have one or two bad games, and you're basically done.
We beat Slovakia in overtime, which only gave us 1 point in the standings, and then we lost to Russia with. We were up by 1 with 2 minutes to go, and they scored 2 in 2 minutes, and then we beat Sweden, which was who were the first place in our pool, but we didn't have enough points to move on, and there was no quarterfinal. It went straight to semi. So that was pretty heartbreaking, but we beat Finland in the 5th, 6th place game.
There you go.
So
there you go.
I guess it was good to win.
To finish with a win, right? Yeah, exactly. And like you said, a lot of these young guys that are on those teams are going to be playing. Basically, are going to have a good opportunity to play in the NHL, hopefully down the road, and you're going to end up crossing paths with them again.
Yeah.
As you hopefully get your opportunity to potentially play in the NHL, right? Which, it's a huge country, right? But when you start narrowing it down to the higher levels, you kind of all reconvene again, right? Which is cool.
Like at this past World Junior Showcase, there's a ton of guys that I've played with before. So it's cool to see how we're all pretty young and kind of the top players there, and we're still kind of together in a group. And there's definitely some new guys that have developed into great players that are there now. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's good to see the guys. Like I played for Team Ontario, me and Ratty did, and then there's a lot of guys from that team that were at the World Junior Showcase.
Cool.
So
yeah,
it's good to see that.
And how was camp? How was camp for the World Juniors this year?
It was good.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah, we had a great time. Our hotel was right across the street from the rink, so
cool.
We went to this golf course up the mountain in Kamloops. We had a dinner there. They let us on the putting green with a bunch of balls and a bunch of putters, so we were just having a lot of fun there. Yeah. We went on a gravity go-kart.
Oh, did you?
First time. There's no gas. You just go down the mountain. You have to brake and turn.
Really?
So it's all gravity.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Did you get ripped? Like you go fast on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get pretty
That's
fast.
That's pretty cool. I never even heard of that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kamloops is a cool spot though, eh?
Yeah, it is. It's literally right in the middle of two mountains.
Yeah, it's unreal. Water. There's water around there too, right? Like lakes and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. I've been there once or twice, but it was always in the winter, so it was never.
It's really nice in the summer.
Yeah. No, I heard that. And then as far as any good shenanigans going on at the World Juniors, like you guys got
At
any
the
like
World Juniors?
like any good stuff in the hotels? Or you guys
There's a lot of some
like any
guys.
good pranks?
Pranks? I don't think so. No.
It's a quick week though, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not a long time, so the guys aren't like super comfortable yet to be able to
Yeah.
like cut a guy's shoelaces or put like
No.
shaving cream in his boot yet. But
Yeah, a lot of guys are just trying to impress and be like good Canadians.
right.
But,
Nobody wants to be that guy.
Well, Robbie Thomas showed up kind of in the last group for one of our meetings with ice cream. So
Oh no way!
he was
That's a veteran move right there, eh?
He played last year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he has that kind of
He's got a little bit longer leash,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, how many guys were jealous that he had ice cream and they didn't have
think
any? Probably
everybody.
pissed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nice move by Robbie. That's
Yeah.
sick. So then if we go through kind of your second year in the O, now you're back under that microscope again that we talked about in the OHL draft. Now you got your NHL draft, and that's, kind of almost a higher end. Obviously, you're a little bit
Yeah.
older. There's more at stake. Not necessarily getting drafted or not. Obviously, everyone wants to get drafted, but when you get drafted in the first round of the OHL, you don't want to get drafted in the seventh round of the NHL, right? But getting drafted to the NHL period is amazing, So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But I'm sure for you, again, being competitive, you kind of set the bar high for yourself. That I want to have a good year and I want to try to go as high as I can this year and kind of push through that. So, what was your mentality going into that second year of junior, and not even necessarily that it was the NHL draft, but it was a big year for you. So, whether it was a big year in the O or a big year in the minor hockey or the O, what's your mentality going into that year for that NHL draft, and how do you approach that to focus and have the best year that you can?
Yeah, I think first off, it was just a great summer before being here at TPH. I thought I really developed.
Nice plug. That was a really good plug.
Yeah. Shout out to TPH.
Yeah, there you go.
But I think I really developed that summer, and it really pushed me forward into my OHL season. We had a great team. We really went far, and I think that helped a lot. And I thought I had a really good year, but my mentality was kind of just not to focus on it too much. There's a lot of scouts again, like the OHL draft, and but I kind of just took it like my OHL draft, and you just want to play your best. You want to winning. I think is the biggest thing for any draft year. Like my OHL draft year, we went to the semifinal of the OHL Cup.
Yeah,
and we had 11 guys drafted. And
because it's true, man. The further you play, the more looks guys are getting, right?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
The high-end guys are the high-end guys. That could help you jockey a couple positions, but some of those other guys that got drafted maybe in that 11th guy or whatever, it's huge, man. It's good,
Yeah, so for my own sound team, we're a top team, and we lost to Erie in the conference final.
That's right, yeah.
So I think that really helped with me, and I think I was one of the top players on that team, and I really wanted to be a leader for Owen Sound, even though I was only in my second year. And I think you try not to focus too much on your NHL draft, but it's always in the back of your head, and you want to play your best. You want to put up points. You want to be ranked in the central scouting in the first round. And so that's every guy's goal. And for me, it was just trying my best on the ice and then off the ice with interviews for the scouts. You don't really know. Sometimes you'll have them after games.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes they'll call you in before. So you meet a lot of people along the way, and you just have to make a first good impression. That's kind of the biggest thing.
Yeah. No. Obviously, you go through that whole process, go through the season, had a real good year. Obviously, went long, which is great. And a lot of times, people, especially in the minor hockey system, a lot of times parents especially think that if their kid does really well, they're going to have all the success, which part of that is true. But if your team does well and your kid does well, it's going to be way better. Yeah, way better, right? And that's hard for people to get their mind around. Mm-hmm. They'd rather not pass, just score. But man, if the team does way better and they win tournaments and they're doing all these things and go far in the playoffs, it's going to help your son or daughter as well as the entire team. And you kind of saw it in Owen Sound and obviously in even in minor midget, which a lot of guys got drafted. Not necessarily the team was great, obviously, but getting those extra looks, that extra couple games in the tournament, seeing, man, this guy's got more than I thought he would, and maybe getting that kid drafted, right? But then going through that OHL year. Now you've got the combine coming up. And the combine's a bit hectic for you guys. You guys go through a bunch of off ice testing, and there's people watching, and it's almost too much sometimes, right? But then the other thing that's the hardest part, I think, of the combine is the interview process.
Yeah.
So you probably met with quite a few teams, right?
Yeah, the interview process is definitely, I think, the hardest out of the whole combine experience.
Because it's long, and you're going in sometimes with 20, 30 teams, right?
I had 28 interviews with teams.
That's crazy, man.
So
any good questions, any crazy off the wall stuff that was just that you can remember as why did you even ask me that?
For me, there's nothing.
No, it was all pretty smooth.
But that's the biggest question I've ever gotten about the combine.
Some of the questions I've heard of guys ask, maybe more old school, not so much now, but crazy, questions one of them was, I remember it was, your buddy's stranded and you just took a girl home, do you stay with the girl or do you go pick up your buddy? Some stuff that just for young guys right now. Did you walk in any of the rooms where there was 8 guys sitting there? Were there any interview rooms that were
there's
that?
some rooms that have probably, I think Winnipeg had maybe 18 guys.
18 guys.
There's a.
So there's a boardroom, basically.
They literally had the biggest room out of everyone except Buffalo, because Buffalo was the home.
Right.
And Buffalo had their boardroom, but
no
Winnipeg
way.
brought
legit.
a ton of people.
And this is in a hotel, right?
It was actually in a rink, and so every team had a suite around the middle.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 18 guys had to sit there and answer questions.
They're just staring at you, and then only a couple people will ask you questions.
And no one's really joking with you or anything like that. It's all pretty serious, or
it depends on the team.
That's brutal, man.
I remember Nashville. There's 4 guys. They were in the Stanley Cup final that year, and they were just having fun.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
So it depends on the team.
But that's got to be nerve wracking, man. You're by yourself. You have no mom, dad with you. You got no buddies.
I was sweating pretty hard for some of the interviews.
Yeah. And are some of them when you walk in just completely straight face, just 5 questions, thank you, see you later?
Not 5 questions, but some of them were pretty serious. Detroit, the one guy was really hard.
Oh yeah,
really hard on you, and he was the same for every guy that I talked to. So
really, eh?
Yeah, but for the combine, I think my interview with Vegas was definitely the best, and they seemed like they really loved me after. So I think that was a big thing.
Cool. So did you leaving all those interviews and stuff like that, do you kind of leave there being I had no idea, this is a crapshoot? Or do you have maybe a bit of a sense, kind of like you said with Vegas, maybe that, man, there was 2 or 3 teams that I felt real comfortable with, kind of connected with maybe, and kind of, not that they're going to draft you because you really don't ever know, but at the same time, man, that would.
Yeah, I definitely left some rooms thinking wow, that went great, and some rooms were huh, I don't know how, I don't know.
Not a chance I'm playing there.
Well, yeah, so there's a lot of the questions that are the same, and it kind of gets into a repetitive thing that you're answering the same question with the exact same thing. So they're pretty hard, and especially if you're going back to back, and your schedule can be all over the place. So
yeah, those are long days, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So now you're at draft day, and you're down at the draft, and things are kind of starting to roll. Did you have an idea of kind of where you were going to sit as far as where you're going to go as far as numbers? Did you middle of the round, late round, second round, third round? Did you kind of have a bit of an idea?
The earliest I thought I was kind of thinking of going was 9 to, I think it was Detroit, because I got a really good vibe off them, and the one scout is near Owen Sound, and he would come see me, and he seemed to really like me, and I had a good interview with them, and then they took me out to dinner at the combine. So that was kind of the first pick that I thought I was gonna go. And
now, would you order in that dinner? Did you just order
salad? They took us.
Did you get something good,
they
something
took us
hefty?
to a really expensive steakhouse. So
yeah, there you go.
I was sitting beside Chris Draper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he was telling.
He's probably
a bunch
funny,
of stories.
Yeah.
But it was a good time.
Oh, that's cool.
They treated us really well at that dinner. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's great.
But to go, I thought 9 to 14 was Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So Tampa was really interested in me. They had a scout come to my house and meet my family. So I think if I wasn't picked by Vegas, I think I was going to go to Tampa.
Right.
But that's just my opinion. I don't really know what they were thinking.
And
But
what picks did Vegas have in the first? They had 3,
Vegas
right?
had 6, 13, and 15.
Okay.
So, and Vegas, I thought, was a good spot because I had a great interview with them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's cool. So then as the draft's kind of rolling through, Vegas has their 6th pick, right? And then they picked, was it Haig, right?
Their 6th?
Yeah.
It was Cody Glass.
Glass,
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so now are you kind of sweating a little bit, or are you kind of just letting it roll out, or how are you feeling?
I started getting nervous at 9 when that was like the first chance I thought I could go.
Yeah.
So I was pretty relaxed through the first 8 picks.
So then what happened at 9?
At 9, I was starting to sweat a little bit, just kind of thinking of each place that I thought I could go to. And but it was still just a fun experience to be sitting there with my parents and my brother and my agents. And it was just a lot of fun to go through. And just being down near that stage, it's just really cool.
So who were the 3 picks that they picked in the first then? There's yourself and then...
Glass and Brandstrom.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So when your name got called, is it kind of a blur after that? Like once you get called, you kind of...
Yeah. I don't really remember walking to the stage.
Right.
And then I just remember shaking Gary Bettman's hand and then going through all the Vegas and throwing on the jersey and the hat.
Yeah.
It was definitely really cool. And then you just stare out to a bunch of flashes of cameras and all the desks that the other teams are sitting at.
Yeah, right.
So it was kind of a blur, definitely walking down the stairs and doing that.
Yeah.
But we taped it on my TV, so I got to watch it back again.
Yeah, no, it's good.
To see what happened.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Were you just sweating buckets? You got to take your jacket off. Do you have big sweat stains on your pits or not?
No,
too bad?
I wasn't too bad. I wore a white shirt.
Nice.
Yeah, I was thinking of wearing a darker shirt, but it would have been bad. Yeah. So
yeah,
it was
that's
a good choice.
Great pull actually. Did you put an undershirt on or no undershirt?
No.
All right. So
I don't really wear undershirts.
No, but that day you might have to. You don't know how hard it's going to be, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. And then that summer's kind of crazy for you guys because you've got playoffs go long, let's say, then you've got combine. Then you've got the draft. Then right after the draft, you got development camp, and then some of you guys get invited to World Juniors. So it's a pretty busy summer.
Yeah, last summer is definitely crazy.
Yeah, it's chopped up. So it's hard to you said earlier going in that second year, you had a really good summer and kind of worked hard and got fit and were ready for that. So that now you get drafted, and this is a pretty big summer. You want to try to impress and do well, and then that summer gets really chopped up, right? So. What was development camp like going right out of the draft? So you leave the draft, basically development camp starts almost a couple days after the draft for you, right? So what was your first development camp in Vegas? New team, which is kind of cool. What was that whole experience like going there and kind of taking all that in?
Yeah, it was a great experience for me. We were kind of the first guys coming in, so there's only a few fans that were pretty interested in us, and so. We actually didn't have a practice rink or a main rink yet.
Right.
So we were at the only rink in Vegas, I think, other than the ones we just built.
Yeah.
So it was just a community rink.
Is it right on the strip, the one you guys were at?
No,
it was off?
A little off,
okay.
Yeah. But it's pretty close.
Yeah.
So I thought I had a really good first development camp that year. It was kind of just a feeling out process for everybody because it was the first ever camp that's ever been run.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of our draft class, I think, has been really good. We got a lot of great guys in the later rounds, and so I think our draft class is really good. And then for everything else, the hotel we stayed at is fantastic, and we have a great pool and lots of places to go eat, and they treated us really well.
Oh, that's good. Was there any good pool parties there when you guys were there?
Not at our hotel.
Oh, man.
Our hotel is more of a family friendly.
Oh, okay. All right. So Vegas is pretty smart. They didn't put you in where there's big rock pool parties.
We're way off the strip.
That's right. That's up the Red Rock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been to any of those Vegas pool parties?
No.
Good answer.
No.
Good answer. You're not old enough yet. That's right.
I'm not old enough. No.
That's right. That's right. And then, so going off of that, then obviously you've done that. Going into rookie camp and main camp, what was that like? For your first kind of rookie and main camp. Now you're with going from rookie, to Maine. You got
Yeah.
legit NHLers there. You've got the teams there basically. What's that like as a young 18-year-old going in there and trying to match up against 25, 30-year-old guys that are grizzled vets?
Yeah, rookie camp was a lot of fun because it was like basically our development camp teams.
Yeah.
And we went to LA for 2 games, which was really cool to get out there and played against some of my teammates from the year before. But moving on to main camp it's just a huge step.
Yeah.
The speed from the practices from rookie camp to main camp is definitely intense. And all the NHL guys were trying to make a good first impression with their new team.
Yeah.
So everyone was going hard. Everyone's fighting for a job. And it was still a lot of fun. A lot of the older guys met us and wanted to meet us and just kind of introduce themselves. And that was really cool.
Probably a totally different atmosphere, going from rookie camp and then all of a sudden stepping into main camp. Probably a totally different vibe in the locker room and everything, right? Just a little bit more serious, probably a little bit more professional. Like you said, some of these guys are on 1-year deals trying to extend their careers a little bit, and new opportunity for them. So they're, going hard. And so probably, definitely a totally different vibe than what you were used to in development camp and rookie camp for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely all business with those guys. They're trying to make their money playing for the team. So they have to first make the team. Some of the guys were kind of on the bubble. Yeah. So it's just a bit different from junior to when you're playing professional.
Yeah.
So
now, when you saw that, when you kind of went to main camp and kind of saw that professionalism, that pro atmosphere, was there thoughts going through your head of, I want to be here one day? Was there thoughts saying, I might not be ready for this right now? Like, was there anything going through your head where you're like kind of a bit of a realistic moment where you're like kind of checking yourself and saying, yeah, you know what, I kind of know where I sit now. I got some work to do, or I'm ready, or,
Yeah, I definitely try to compare myself to the other players, and you can just see how fast they are. I think that was the biggest thing, and I think I really picked up my speed just practicing with them.
For sure, yeah.
Because you're trying to keep up. Yeah. Like, you got to do everything you can not to look slow or get behind them. So you don't want to be that guy that's kind of just way behind the speed of the NHL, and you want to, all your GMs and scouts are watching you. So you want to be that guy that you can show them that you can play with them. Yeah,
you try to find that gear that you didn't really know you had, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess I'll kind of backtrack here a little bit, but going through your career, and especially coming from the O to the NHL, or getting drafted to the NHL, I should say, what was probably one or two of the biggest knocks on Nick Suzuki's game? So what are a couple of things that you heard repetitively from scouts and from agents and from media or whatever, what are some of the things that you heard that he's going to have a hard time playing in the NHL because he doesn't have this?
Probably the two biggest things were my height and then my skating. Okay. So I think a lot of people thought my stride was definitely a little weird. Yeah. And I totally agreed with that, and I've been working a lot on my skating, and I think it's gotten a lot better over the years. And
for sure.
But that was the biggest thing, and then my height was kind of mentioned, like me being a smaller player. Yeah. Being 5'11" now. But if I was 6 feet, not a lot of people would say it, and it's just an inch. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No. And I mean, the height thing
is not a big deal.
And
anymore.
Not even that, you can't control it. What are you going to do? Stretch yourself? And there's nothing you can do about it, right? So it is what it is. You got to learn how to play at that size, and that's what it's going to be. As far as the skating, I can attest to the fact that you did put a lot of time and effort into it and trying to get it better. And yeah, maybe your style's was maybe a little bit more unorthodox. And that was one thing we talked about way back, was sometimes, man, you just got to look sexy. Yeah. You got to look sexy. Scouts and agents stuff want to see you skate.
Some guys have sexy. Perfect stride.
Exactly. And I always thought your speed was fine. Your speed was never really the issue. I think, and we talked about this a lot, is getting out of the hole quick and having those quick starts and those quick first couple steps. And I think that's something that you've definitely worked on. And you see it at the NHL level when you practice with these guys, when you're practicing with these guys at development camp and at main camp and things like that. The speed is a big, big thing, right? And but like you said, you get a chance to practice at that pace and that practice tempo and then game tempo. You're gonna, you're a smart player. You're gonna figure it out, and then that's gonna obviously help even more with that development. And then, obviously continue to work on in the off season and whenever you get a chance to work on those skills and, continue to get better. But, I think you've done a lot of good work with just even your skating alone and getting up to that point where now you do have a couple different gears. I think that you're good at changing speeds and kind of slowing the pace of the game down or speeding it up. And those are things that I think are going to help translate to that next level, So, sometimes it hurts to hear those things when you're coming up, right?
Yeah.
But being able to be realistic about it and say, you know what, maybe I do need to work on that. Maybe that's one area of my game that I got to get better at, I think is definitely huge. And then now I guess for you, it's, you're going to be coming back into another main camp. Well, I guess another rookie camp for you and then another main camp for you. What are your expectations going in? So as far as, how are you preparing for it mentally as far as that first day of rookie camp? What do you want to do? You want to impress right away? You want to score right away? You want to dominate the game? Like what kind of Nick do you want to have there?
Yeah, I definitely want to be the top player at our rookie camp, and that's my goal since the start. And development camp went well, and I just want to take that another step playing for Vegas. And for rookie camp, we have a little tournament, so I really want to do well in that and show that I can be a dominant player at that kind of level. And then moving on to main camp, show them that I can play with the NHL guys and compete well and even produce there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I guess leaving from last year or even leaving from development camp, what was the feedback like maybe at last year at main camp or this year at development camp? What were some of the things that the coaches or the GMs or the scouts had said to you that, okay, Nick, you're here in order to get to that NHL level, this is the stuff that you got to really kind of focus on? Was there anything that's popped out to you that at that level they're like, we'd see you here down the road, but you got to get better at this, this, and this?
It's definitely just skating, I think, now is just the biggest thing in the NHL.
Yeah.
It's all about speed, and they told me that I have my skill is right up there with the NHL players, and I think for my hockey IQ is definitely up there too.
Yeah.
And but just being able to put on muscle, get faster, and that's like the biggest thing for all these younger guys.
Yeah.
That you want to improve on.
Yeah.
And that was basically their biggest message. But they just liked where all of us were headed, and going back to juniors, just another development year. Being leaned upon in the OHL is a good thing, and you get a lot of minutes, and you can really work on your game.
Yeah, and I think that's important, right? Sometimes when guys get sent back, they feel like it's a big setback or it's a big downer. And, you see even a guy like, a couple of years ago, Max Domi got sent down, and he was the captain. He was unreal, had an unreal year, and then was up the next year,
Yeah.
So taking that as, if it does happen, unfortunately, obviously you'd love to be in the NHL, but if it does happen, taking it as, what, this is a learning moment. There's stuff I got to work on. And I think you're right. One of the big things with a lot of the young guys is getting stronger. And even when you talk about speed and quickness, you're only going to be as fast or, as quick as you can with what you're carrying. So if you can get stronger and work on that stuff and get more powerful, that's going to translate onto the ice and help a ton with getting quicker and getting stronger and getting faster on the ice as well, right? And I mean, when you look at even at main camp, you're playing against some big boys, right?
Yeah.
Like there's some big D. They're strong and smart.
Guys,
So I mean, it's a different. It's way different than battling a 19, 20-year-old in the O when you got a 25-year-old that's played 5 years in the NHL that's strong and fast and.
I remember going up against Jason Garrison. He's been an NHL veteran.
Yeah.
He's massive, and it was just I was 18, and it was he's just he's a little intimidating at first. But you want to show that you can battle with those guys, win battles and play hard in front of the net.
Yeah.
So it's a really good competition to see how you measure up against those kind of guys.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure this year will be the same, right? Now you're going to have some new guys in there, some new draft picks as well that'll be in there from this year. So there'll be even some extra competition as far as young guys trying to steal jobs and you guys trying to push to take some jobs as well, which will be really cool for sure. We'll wrap up with a couple. I always ask a couple kind of questions at the end, and just kind of just for some of those young kids out there that listen to stuff like this. But if you have to look back at yourself, if you're, let's say 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, in that kind of minor hockey age, what are some things now, looking at where you're playing now and your skill set and how you are now, what are some things that you would tell that young guy to really focus on? It doesn't have to be necessarily skill, it can be, but things that you see that are going to really help him or her translate into a way better player down the road. It could be be better to your teammates. It could be whatever, right? But is there anything that pops in your mind that you think like, man, if I just had taken this more seriously, or if I had worked on this a little bit more, or focused on this part of my game, it would have helped me a little bit as I got up?
Well, I think for me as a young guy, I never liked to do skating lessons, and I think that kind of has set me back maybe a little bit.
By the way, nobody likes doing skating lessons.
So
yeah,
I wish I would have done a bit more, but you're still young. You want to have. I just wanted to have fun playing hockey, and then I think just working on skills now is a really big thing. And if you're a skilled player, I think you can do a lot, even if you're not the biggest or the fastest. Being able to make passes, using your teammates, and just using your skill out on the ice is really good.
Yeah, I know for sure. And I think, you talk about skating, and I teach skating, but if I ever say, hey guys, we're gonna do a power skating session, I mean, no matter how old they are, even you guys be like, no man. So I think there's, as a skills coach, you got to kind of mold it in there a little bit, but you're right. Now you'd have no problem doing an hour session with no pucks and just working on your skating, because you understand how important it is. But for the young kids, a lot of times,
it's hard to. You just want to have a puck on your stick.
Yeah, for sure. Dangles, sauce, and slap shots, right? Yeah, exactly. And then what does Nick Suzuki like to do away from the rink? So if you're playing during the season or off season or whatever you're doing, what kind of stuff are you into kind of away from the rink?
I'm a pretty big video game guy.
Okay.
I like movies a lot too. I like to go to the theaters and do that. But
so what video games are you into?
What video games? I've been
Obviously
playing
Fortnite. Yeah.
It's huge with everybody.
Yeah.
Just like I don't know. I just caught on to our. I was one of the first players to play it on our team, and
oh really?
And it's just
and then you got the whole team onto it.
Yeah, so we're always on after practice.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of hours on that. And then I play NHL and NBA. So those are kind of my biggest games. And
nice.
Yeah, I just like to hang out usually.
Yeah.
I don't like
probably catching up with friends, things like that, especially in the off season when you're not here much, right? So
I went to the Boots and Hearts festival a couple weekends ago. So it was actually crazy how many people I saw or came up to me and said like, "Hey," like it was unreal to see how many people like I've known.
It's like a big reunion though, right? Like kids from teenagers and stuff from everywhere.
I would just have like people I didn't recognize, and they just come up and say, like, "Hey." And then I'm so and so, and I'm like, oh my god, like I played against you like 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Now Boots and Hearts is just like one sweaty, muddy, dehydrated pit of music, eh? Like it's a whole weekend of just like sun beating down, people just getting.
Yeah, it was pretty hot that weekend too.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah,
but it's still a lot of fun.
Though, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of my teammates were there too, and we got to all hang out.
No, that's cool. Now, did you pay for the $5 shower, or did you opt out of that?
No, I didn't pay for those.
No. $5 can be better spent somewhere else, right? That's right. And one last thing, when you approach your season coming up this year, so no matter where it is, or let's say look at last year, how do you approach your season? So meaning, when you look at your season, are you looking at long-term goals throughout the entire season, or do you kind of segment it into, okay, I want to have a good start, I want to have a good first 5 games, I want to, how do you look at your year overall, and not necessarily saying, I want to get 50 goals, or maybe one of your goals is to be top 10 in league scoring, right, or things like that. But is there a way that you look at your season and, okay, this is how I want to approach it, and these are the milestones I want to kind of hit?
Yeah, for me, I set long-term goals for like the end of the season. A big thing for me is my plus minus. I want to have a really high plus, and so that's kind of a big thing for me. But then I usually take it by weekends, because we're always playing on the weekend usually. So I set little goals for myself, and obviously statistical goals by the end of the season. Yeah. And if I'm back in Owen Sound, I could hit like the most points in Owen Sound history.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
that's really
like
cool.
90 something. Yeah. So that would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
if
for
I'm back
sure.
there, yeah.
Yeah, I know, that'd be awesome, man. That'd be really cool. And then what's it like playing in the OHL, playing against your brother? Like when you guys match up against Barry and stuff. What is it? Because you guys probably have never had a chance to really play like with each other and anything, you know. So what's it like playing against them? It's
really
weird?
it's really
Is it
weird.
Cool? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird and really cool at the same time.
Yeah.
But so last year was his first year, and we actually had our first preseason game against each other. And it was in Owen Sound, so we had a bunch of family come up. And we took the opening face-off against each other.
No way.
I cleaned them. It was
Did you put anything on the line? Did you give him like a hey $5 on this one? No?
no, nothing. But it was definitely bragging rights.
Oh, for sure.
So it was just
Rookie,
really cool.
Just rookie.
It was really cool to play against
That's
them.
awesome.
Yeah, and then during the game, he was skating back to his bench, and I was skating to mine. So I gave him a little tap on the shin pads, and the ref gave me a penalty for it.
Come on.
And I was pretty pissed. I was like, like he's my brother, and I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't really care. And he just put me in the box. I was like pretty pissed about that, but it's pretty
awesome.
funny.
Yeah, it's great. Now, did they snipe on the power play or no?
No, I don't think
that
so.
That would have been even better if he buried on the power play. That'd be awesome. Oh, that's good. Yeah, and I'm sure, obviously all the best this year. And, we all want you to make Vegas and not play in the O again next year and kind of wait and see what happens. If it doesn't work out in Vegas, you're not back in the O. I think it'll be really cool to watch you play, and there could be some other cool opportunities with maybe the World Juniors or other things that may happen for you, which once again just kind of builds your resume a little bit as far as kind of being the player that you are and continuing to kind of build that resume as you're moving forward. So I want to thank you a lot for stopping by, man. It's awesome to get a chance to chat. And
it was sweet.
It's good to spend some time with you. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.